All right, folks, welcome back to another episode of Post and Destroy. I am your host, Percy Robinson, and we got
your boy, Killer Cam.
Killer Cam.
You know, people, there's y'all been calling me that more lately, which is funny because I've never even presented to anybody.
It just goes together.
I know.
I think, you hang around a lot of black people too.
For sure.
And black people, we just do nicknames on GP.
I mean, it's been happening since I was in high school. Oh, Killer Cam.
Yeah.
And then my mom was like, why does everyone call you Killer Cam? I'm like, sounds crispy.
Sounds crispy and dope, right?
Well, then there was Cameron. Boy. Oh, boy. Killer.
Just don't wear that pink fur, then I'll have to talk about you.
I got you. Don't worry. It's salmon now.
Salmon. Do you say salmon or salmon?
I say salmon, but I know people that say salmon.
I hate when people, dude. Oh my god! I know we're gonna get into
or almond.
Yeah, it's not salmon. If you can't pronounce it, you shouldn't eat it.
You say zebra or zebra?
Zebra. Who the fuck says zebra?
According to the Africans, it's zebra.
Well,
have you seen the zebra?
Well, lucky for me, I'm Black American. So. I mean, and that's not a jab, so don't be coming at me.
Don't come for Percy in the comments.
Don't come at me with no diaspora stuff, because, bro, I will fry you. I got jokes on top of jokes, so
that's the era we grew up in.
Yes, sir. Man, I miss those days.
I do.
Miss those days of just talking shit.
Yeah,
at the lunch table.
Those were the good days, man.
You had to be quick-witted.
You had to be. And
there was no fights that broke out.
There wasn't.
Everything was on the table.
One of my kids got hit with a yo mama joke the other day.
Oh.
They were like, oh yeah, it was crazy. It was just like yo mama, and I was like, dang, that you saw one in the wild in 2025, a yo mama joke.
That's insane. We back to yo mama joke.
I be talking shit to my kids. I'd be like, yo mama, and they'd be like, was she right there? I'm like, don't worry about her. Yo, mama.
Yeah, those jokes are dope. Okay, let's get to the episode.
Sorry,
because this is something that I wanted you to touch on because you've built such a big empire, and I've seen the progress.
Yeah.
Even though we met a month or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
So
probably a month.
Yeah, probably a month. Yeah. So I've seen where you started. You know what I mean? It kind of gave me the Bill Gates in the garage, starting your empire in the garage, and then now you're here.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell everyone what it takes to create something. Those that are trying to create a podcast studio.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that's I'll be honest. I don't feel like a lot of people think about it in a studio sense. I know we didn't. I mean, I tell people all the time is. We talked about it on the last episode was or the first episode is podcasting is a conduit to business, so for those that don't know, the L3 Perspective is the podcast I do with Glenn Davis, who's my business partner for L3 Media. He's my brother, my best friend, and Forward Learning Group. And that came because, I started podcasting in COVID, when COVID kicked off. My boy, Clifford Roy, my one of my other really good friends, we were having really dope conversations around marketing and recruiting. So those of you that don't know, I recruit for the Air Force, and so we were just always talking about human psychology and the sale and the marketing and whatever, and as I would say, anyone starts a podcast, bro, we have great conversations. People would love to listen to us, and everything I say, and I think you can contest to this so far, is I don't talk bullshit.
Right.
I don't say anything I don't mean. That doesn't mean that I don't say things that I want to happen and they don't, but there was every intention of it going down.
Right.
And so we were yeah, let's do a podcast. And that was on a Friday. And by Sunday, I had my mic. The YouTube page was started. I had a logo, a name, and our first guest was booked for Monday. Wow. And our first guest was the retiring highest enlisted member of the U.S. military.
And you only had one mic?
Well, here's the other thing. Roy was in Miami. So we were on a 3-hour time difference, plus it was virtual.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the other piece of it, right? And so he was like, "Oh shit." So he's like, "No, we're like really doing that." I'm like, "Bro, like yes." And so that's where Scare Money Don't Make Money was started and made, right? And I mean, we were going hard, man. I mean, we were in, drop an episode a week, but the problem came from, as in most situations, I end up being the tech guy, right? Like, and so it got overwhelming. Not to mention, when COVID started to kind of tailor down and people had to go back to work, Roy had to go back to work, and he, not his fault, but stopped showing up to episodes because he just couldn't get out of work. He, blah blah blah, and so eventually we're like, all right, man, like let's just call it. Like, I can't do this by myself. I'm kind of looking stupid showing up to these episodes, and I'm like, oh, he's on his way, and then you're not on your way, and so, but like that actually gave me like a cool amount of clout, like in the recruiting world. Like people to this day be like, "Scare Money Don't Make Money, right, Cam?" And I'd be like, "That's right." See? And so, anyways, fast forward when Glenn and I linked up. I had told him I was trying to get back into podcasting, but I recognized, like we talk about, is like, just be true with yourself. Like I recognized that there were non-negotiables that I would have if I started a podcast with somebody again. And so when Glenn mentioned when I mentioned to Glenn that I want to get it back into podcasting, he said, "That's crazy because I have a podcast idea that's been sitting on my whiteboard for 2 years at the time." I was like, "Cool, let's talk about it." And so our families got together because this was a podcast that him and his wife had actually came up with.
Okay.
But it was now Glenn and I executing it. And so like we talked about it. And he, told me the concept. I told him what I can do. And then I also said, like, this is what I need you to do, like, to make my time doing the tech and the camera and all that. Like, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. And he was like, cool. And I said, if I don't feel like you're doing those things, then I'm going to stop. Like, I just can't do it. And now, we're like, started out the kitchen table. I always tell people this is like, for those of you that don't know Glenn, like Glenn's black, I'm light. I decided to buy a felt black background. Excuse me. And I don't even think I was using my M50 to record us initially. I think I was just using it like we were just using our like a MacBook.
Oh, bro.
Yo, Percy's he's like, this is worse than I thought.
I had a client that used their MacBook to record, and I'm just like, bro,
what do you want me to do with this?
Use your phone. I was like, you know what? At the end of the edit, I did a dope edit and everything, but I was like, just don't put my name behind this. That's why, like,
you can put whatever filters you want. I don't care.
Like, that's why I don't like taking on editing clients that shot their own stuff.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, I love the money. The money's great.
Yeah.
But all money ain't good money.
Correct.
I want my own artistic.
Yeah, you want your flavor.
Yeah, flavor
you want your flavor
it.
to it.
And I need it shot a certain way.
Yeah.
Because it'll drive me crazy. Colors don't match up.
Yeah.
It just looks terrible when you shoot it from especially with the Apple, like the Apple cameras.
Yeah.
They're the worst. You spend the most money for these laptops.
I will say the new cameras are good.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten a lot of compliments on the new ones.
Gotcha.
Like, oh man, what is that? I'm like, just my MacBook.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we were just shooting on that, and I think that's when I had the M50, the Canon, and I eventually figured out how to connect it because it was also like a pain in the ass. Like for those of you guys that have Canons, like y'all know, Canons are not necessarily the most user friendly, like connection wise. Whether it's to the computer, your phone, you can make it happen, but it's just like a fucking debaple.
Now, were you live streaming? Meaning connecting to your computer?
Yeah.
So you were live streaming?
Well, I wasn't live streaming though. I was just using. We eventually started using the M50 as our camera.
Okay.
Because remember, like we use a online platform to record our podcast.
Gotcha.
So, I'm not gonna say the name because y'all can sponsor us.
Right.
And so, but I didn't have any lights. We were using like my kitchen lighting. I think I might have had some of those like clamp ring lights, you know?
You would have drove me crazy.
I know you would have been dying. Your heart, you would have been melting. And
Yeah.
so eventually then I got a big ring light
Right.
that had a camera mount in the middle, which that helped a lot. And we actually have like a really cool shot of, I think my wife, like, she was trying to get her videography on. She like moved her camera
Right.
like through it. It looked pretty cool.
Doing the pan.
In the pan, yeah. And so, So initially, and we'll pop it up on the screen. I downloaded it recently, the very first test that Glenn and I did. But yeah, like Glenn practically blends into the back, like, the ice, it's hard. Everything's on auto.
And don't tell me auto. That just gives me the...
And then eventually, like I said before, is I hit up our boy Chris Pollard, who owns a photography business in Sacramento, and I said, "Hey man, I need your help with lighting." And he was like, "Hey, I'm really busy, but I'll let you know if I end up being able to do a class." And he messaged me a couple days later and was like, "Hey, funny enough, after you asked, like a whole bunch of other people asked." And I was like, "Cool." And so I ended up going up there and getting the private lesson with him. Had a model and everything, and I saw the camera that he had. And I said, "What camera is that?" And he's like, "Oh, this is the Canon R6 Mark II with the RF lens on it, with the EF mount." And I was like, "Okay." And so I went and bought it. And so Glenn shows up and there's like this giant camera now looking at us. And
big difference too.
I mean, it made a huge difference, right? And so, but anyway, so we started building the podcast out, and our guests started asking us, what if we wanted you to do our stuff, and that's my lane. So like that fell on me, right? And I was like, well, if it's money for the business, like I'm gonna do it, like I'm gonna adjust as much as I need to make this shit work.
Right.
Listen to the market. That's another thing. Like I think a lot of business owners, like you hear a lot of this, like, oh, just niche down or do like. Listen to the market. The market will tell you what they need if you are open enough,
right, to
learn from it. And so we started. There's a community workspace. So I used to break down the equipment, put it up, take it down every time I did a client. It was abysmal.
I know that.
You know that feeling.
Yeah.
Like having to pack it all up and shit.
It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, and then it's like, and so the lights were turned. The air conditioner was hella powerful, so every once in a while it would kick on hella hard. And so then a friend of ours was like, "Hey, could you guys get into a space?" And I was like, "Well, if the numbers make sense," because like we weren't at that point making an extreme amount of revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And we made the numbers work, and we built it, like $1 in a dream type shit. Like, like we have a board, it's not just like I may be the CEO, but like Glenn is the COO, and then like our wives are on. So like that's also different from a perspective, because I'm also now asking for permission. Like I asked my board for permission, like give me 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm asking. Like, and if we haven't made the revenue, we'll leave, and no harm, no foul. And obviously we're still here past 6 months, and we made it work. But it was like, it was learning, right? Like people coming in. I mean, this studio has continuously evolved weekly, because I'm always trying to ensure that our clients know that their dollars don't just go into our pockets. Like every dollar that's spent here is a dollar that's spent making it better for you.
And that's actually key right there, right? And a lot of people don't think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not thinking about team collaboration. Like, how can we make the experience better for the client?
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Glenn talks a lot about that experience. Like, what's the experience that we're giving?
Well, experience it's very powerful, because like, when we go somewhere, we want to have a good experience. Like if we go to the store, we want to make things convenient for us.
No pays for a shitty time.
Right. You know what I mean? Like, there's some stores you go to, you're like, damn, I fucking hate this place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just terrible. But there's other places where you just feel like it just feels like home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the way you built this, and like how it progressed, especially with Glenn, like you guys put your brains together, you pushed egos to the side. Like, how can we make
for sure
this better for not only us but for the community?
100%.
Right.
Yep.
And I've seen it firsthand. Like people coming in here,
you'll be chilling.
Yeah, they're like, wow, what is this?
Yeah.
Can I do like some episodes here?
Yeah.
Sure.
Can I just press buttons?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's why so when I first came here, you know, I was amazed. I was like, man, this is great. But I was in that mindset where like, man, I can just do this on my own.
Well, I talked to Glenn about this actually. I think I was telling my wife this too, is that I don't even necessarily think it was your mindset. I think what it was is that we hear people talk bullshit so much all the time that it's hard to like when people, because you didn't know me. Like I just messaged you on Instagram and was like, hey, brah, come to my studio and partner. You know, and then like,
and I thought some creepy shit.
Yeah, it was also weird shit, right? Like this was the candy. Hey, you want some candy?
Yeah.
But I know that, right? Like, but you know, and that's why I reached out the second time, like, hey, like, I didn't forget, man. Like, I'm dead ass. Like, let's make this shit happen.
Well, the second time I came, I was sold. I was like, hey, this dude's persistent. I caught a vibe, you know, from you, and then when I met Glenn, I was like, dude, these are some cool ass dudes.
Glenn's the reinforcements.
Yeah,
I'm like,
definitely.
if I can't get you, Glenn's gonna get you.
Oh yeah, definitely. I was like, oh, Glenn Black too. I was like, I'm definitely coming. I need another brother around here. You know what I'm saying? No, funny story. Like I grew up in Vacaville, so like there was hardly any black families. You know what I mean? Yep. So like when I was on the baseball team, it was just me, and I was the only dark spot. You know what I mean? Yeah. So when we played teams like Vallejo and stuff like that, they're like, man, that's the only brother on the team. You know? So I always make that joke. You know what I mean? I always make that joke. I was like, but I mean, it doesn't matter, people. You know, I don't see color. Okay? I fucking hate that shit too. Like, of course you do, you dick. You know what I mean? Of course you do.
Fucking Pocahontas over here. All the colors of the wind.
Just don't be an asshole and judge people because of, you know, their looks.
Facts.
We all see color. We all know we're different. Like, don't be that guy.
Yeah, don't be that guy.
You know what I mean?
It's all good, bro.
Yeah. So sorry, I went on my. I always go on my little tangents and stuff. I don't know what happens. I think I have like an issue. Like if I wouldn't say issue, but like if like a word comes on, you know, it triggers something in it. Not like I'm triggered, but like I go on these tangents. So like Cam,
I'm usually the tangent guy. So
yeah. So you met your match. I mean, we are pretty much the same person. Like we think the same.
There's a lot. It's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it is.
The Game Boy case thing. That was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? The same case as me too? No, in the backpack too. We had the backpack.
Yeah. Well, I feel like a lot of people have the back. That's like, because that's like a pretty standard. But the case, I feel like that because that's such a specific thing.
Yeah.
You know, you look up camera bag. That bag is kind of like pretty standard on Amazon. It's not overly expensive. It does the job. But like the Game Boy SD card case.
Yeah, that was insane. I was like, man, that's a different kind of crazy.
Put a link in the bio.
Yeah, definitely.
But no, yeah, and it's like, but that's kind of what Glenn and I have wanted to build here, right? And like, that's why we're so excited to partner with you, because you know, there's so much more you can do together.
Dude, that is the truth.
You know, and you know, and I feel like people say it as, you know, it, but a lot of people don't live it.
Right.
Like, you got to live it. Like, I tell people all the time, you know, it's part of my kind of like speech as far as Glenn and I partnering is I would rather have 50% of something than 100% of nothing. You know, I'll take shit. We talked, what is it? Was it you and I who was talking about it? But it was like, you know, if we could get 1% of this industry, like you know.
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes. And here's another thing. There's doors that you can open that I could have never went into. Yeah. And that's what I've seen. And there's doors that I can open. Yep. You know what I mean? That it's all about, again, pushing the ego to side. Yeah. Collaborate, you know what I mean? And go into business with people that are solid.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You got to, I mean, yeah, are there scammers out there and people that be bullshitting and saying like, yeah, you know, I'm a videographer too. And then you look at their channel and they're like, videographer where? Like, Why is your stuff crooked?
I will say now that I think about it, I don't ever say that.
It took me a long time to say it.
Well, retro, but I'm not at the level that you are. But I say like I own a podcast studio.
Yeah,
I can say that. Like,
yeah,
that I'll do the fuck out your podcast.
Right.
Videographer. I'm getting there. I still feel like I have a lot to learn to crown that title.
But you're getting there.
But I'm getting there, and I'm cool with that. But no, I agree. There's like people, like when I hear people tell me like, oh yeah, I got a podcast. Not to be a dick about it, but like I look at their stuff and I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, all right, dude. No, but you came a long way. Like I'm gonna give you your flowers on this, right? Like it's kind of like a backhand compliment, but I'm gonna give you your flowers. And I think you know what I'm talking about.
I love backhand compliments.
So this is how sinful Cam is. Cam was like, hey, look, I'm gonna pay you to do this project. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay, cool. It's some stuff that we shot. I'm like, all right. And he knew what he was giving me.
Well, first, you were trying to do the homie thing. You were like, oh, I'll do it for this, and I was like, nah, you're gonna do it for this.
That's when I knew something was up. I was like, this dude is about to set me up, right? So I was like, yeah, send the folders over, and I'll take a look at it. So I ain't gonna hold you. Like the first 30 minutes that I looked at the footage, and you told me like who shot what. I was mad at you. And I haven't met Glenn yet. And I was like, when I meet Glenn, it's gonna be problems. I was like, you know what I mean? It's gonna be problems. But like, I think you wanted to test my gangster and see like how I could put the footage together. Like you wanted to see like how I was as an editor.
Yeah.
Because some of us as editors were like, yeah, I edited videos. You know what I mean? This is what I
but
do.
if all you're doing is cutting and pasting.
Yeah, cutting and gluing stuff together and be like, here you go.
I knew that it was going to take a little like some skill.
Right.
And that's just and that's a testament to like no matter like how good you are, the weather can fuck shit up.
Yeah.
I mean that's honestly what kind of happened to us, like and being ill equipped, right? Like ND filter wasn't there. That was an accident. The clouds literally kept coming in out, which you were like, yeah, I could tell, man, that it rained. It was, I don't even know if you saw that, but it rained.
Yeah, all the elements were coming in.
It was like, what is going on? But it was like, no, that was a test, but that was also a what's the word I'm looking for? Like an olive branch. Like, hey, like I'm not bullshitting you. Like, there's work here. We will not. We'll do exactly what you need. Let's make it happen.
Yeah, and you're a man of your word, and I want to apologize for to Glenn because I love Glenn. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Glenn is amazing, but I was hotter than fish grease.
But also like. Remember the conversation we had after all that, and then even to see what Glenn did after.
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. Like, I seen Glenn's footage.
all of us, honestly. You
know what I like about Glenn? Like, he's like, I don't do this. Like, this is not what I do. This is like, I just, I do what I do, and I respect him for that, right?
Facts.
But he still wants to learn.
Of course.
Like, I sat with him yesterday, and like, I was totally nerding out on him, and like I was showing him like my process. He was asking me like, "Why did you light it this way?"
Yeah,
you know what I mean, or how did you do it that way? And for someone that just stays in his lane and does his thing, he still wants to learn the process
for sure.
And I fucks with him on that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where I'm like, dude, like
that's why he's my dog.
Yeah.
That's why none of y'all have him.
Man, I'm gonna take him, man. Because when you text me like, man, I wish I was part of the conversation. It's like, we didn't really need you. You know what I mean? We didn't really need you in the conversation.
I got the goddamn cliff notes.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself in this podcast system going in the next 6 months?
Well, first off, we're going to Podcast Summit.
There we go.
All three of us.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
I'm excited about that because that is already somewhat opening doors, right? Because I think I was telling Glenn about it yesterday. I'm not sure if I told you yet, but I'm on these calls, And there's a lot of people asking about, how to grow their podcast, which is, of course, that's the whole reason you're going, right? Mm-hmm. I'm the only one who's like, I want to know how you built your building and your business. Mm-hmm. I want to know that.
Yeah.
The podcast, I got people for that. I got you, I got Brittany, I got YouTube University. We got that. Mm. I want to know how you bought a building, because that's the next level for us. Like the warehouse.
Yes.
I honestly, in my heart of hearts, believe that within the next year, we could potentially have our own space.
Yeah.
Our own warehouse. And it's not just, the thing that I like to bring to people's attention is that, our studio that we have built here, we did not know, honestly, how big it was going to be, because we assumed, like, we're somewhat new kids on the block. Of course, there's probably other studios in this area, and now we have to worry about competition. That was not the case. A friend of ours was here for one of the there was like a meeting someone did here, and we opened the doors, people could see, and they were just like, you guys realize you are now like the only studio in the county that does this? And there are other studios that you can do like video in or photography, but we are the only studio that provides a dedicated podcasting space.
Right.
And multiple spaces at that, right? And so then we learned we are one of the only spaces in 30 to 40 mile radius that goes down to the bay.
Right.
We have clients that come from Oakland, Berkeley, San Francisco, Stockton, Sacramento. I mean, we got people that come here. And so that's something we always like to make prevalent, especially when people see, is like, we are, in my opinion, and no one's fought me on this, one of the only businesses in Solano County that brings out of Solano County dollars.
Right.
And so with that growth that we have going on, bro, I mean, I see us, adding at least one or two more people to the team within the next 6 months, that we can count on, who are high quality shooters, editors, things of that nature. I foresee not only the studio, but many of our podcasts being sponsored in some form or fashion. Mm-hmm. I mean, podcasting wise, like we are, in my opinion, becoming the authority on podcasting on the West Coast, because no one has that mantle right now, Mm-hmm. And when I say we, I mean us as a unit, not just L3 Perspective, not just Post and Destroy, like us as a unit, we are becoming the voice.
Mm-hmm. I see that as well. Like when I look at this place, I see growth. You know what I mean? Like when I have many conversations with you and the guys, like I see growth. Like everyone is trying to better themselves each day. Each day they want to have a better day. Like, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that actually, like having that type of energy makes you want to be better.
Oh, for sure.
Like, I don't want to be around people that think lower than me. You know what I mean? Like low vibrational and everything else. I want to be around people that are shakers and movers, and people that are visionaries, people that, can do things I can't do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I want to be able to learn from each and every one of you. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of things that I don't get right now.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So when you came at me with that concept, like, dude, we would love to have you on the team, the second time around, I was like, bro, I'm in.
Yeah.
Where do I sign?
Yeah.
Because like I seen the vision. As a solo creator.
Yeah.
Here's the issue that we go through, the solo creator.
Yep.
We have no motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it a buck. Even as good as I am at shooting, I have low motivation, sometimes, because I want everything to be perfect. And that's my downfall.
That's most creators' downfalls.
Yeah. Like I don't want to post stuff just to post stuff and be like, hey everybody, it's Percy Robinson in Davy's kitchen, and we're gonna do this. I don't like. I think that shit's goofy. I think it's just. I don't like doing that.
Yeah.
You know, if that's something you want to do, that's great. But that's not how I like to conduct myself. I want brands to look at my content and be like, "Yo, that's commercial style. I want that
For sure."
You know what I'm saying? And that's what I want to bring on. You know, to the team. Like I want to add like my expertise and be like, "Look, I want us to be commercial. I want us to look good. I want." You know, that big ass warehouse.
Yeah.
And from that big ass warehouse, I want Mare Island.
Yeah.
So I can do like big films.
I want on a whole island, mother.
You know?
Oh, speaking of which.
Okay.
I just found out yesterday from Essex that apparently Vallejo up until like the middle of Fairfield is considered a TMZ zone for filming.
Oh.
You ever heard of that?
TMZ, like
Yeah.
TMZ, the TMZ play?
No. So
Okay.
I know I thought same thing. So what it is it's 30 mile zone. So we are 30 miles outside of a union zone, which means that if people record their films in this area, they don't have to pay union tax.
Mm.
So but if you go past Fairfield, you're then back within the 30 mile zone. So that particular area of Solano County is primed to do films in at a lower cost.
Mm. That's interesting.
Just little tidbit we learned yesterday.
See, there we go. We finding out stuff on the fly.
Hey you.
You know what I mean? So, man, we're at the 30.
We're at the
plus.
precipice.
You know, 30 plus.
Oh wow, that went by fast.
Yeah, it does. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the people about the whole podcast thing before we wrap things up? Anything positive?
I mean, I'm like, I want to offer something constructive.
Okay.
And I think the best thing that I can offer constructively is that give some thought to and we talked about this previously, is give some thought to what the point is. What is the point? Why, like, don't think that just be like, and stop doing stuff for the likes. Because everybody I've talked to, and these are people who have huge followings, is that if they have not stayed true to who they are, they've done stuff specifically for the likes, whether they've been ratchet for the likes or whatever, is I wish I wasn't inadvertently pigeonholing myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like I have clients who, followed advice from the wrong people and were told like, hey, wear a certain type of clothing, talk about a certain type of thing. And now they're like, that didn't align with where I was trying to go at all. And now I'm trying to recover from those things that didn't align with what was the point in the first place.
Right. That makes sense.
There you go.
That makes sense.
That's $1 million advice right there.
That's $1 million worth of game.
Gang.
So I guess I'm gonna do my thing. You know what I'm saying?
Do your outro.
So I want to thank each and every one of you guys for taking the time and watching this video. You guys could be anywhere in this world, but today you decided to be right here with us. And for that, we thank you. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and click the bell so you know every time we drop a brand new video. And in the meantime, in between time, holla at ya boys. Peace.